not make a copy. It's one sheet. Make a copy with your phone. Sorry. Yeah, that sheet. Okay, so we are here on page 104. Are we what? Yes. This is it, yes.
Okay.
So we learned different sikhs that the Rebbe gave on the subject of Moshiach Geulah, and mainly on how it's relevant to our times today. So this is a sikha that we started a few weeks ago, and it's about Parsha Shoftim. The Rebbe gave the sikha in the year Tafshin Nun Aleph, 1991. And the sikha is all about prophecy. That even though it appears on the surface that once the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, and even after that there were still prophets, like Mordechai HaTzadik was a prophet in the time of Purim, and he lived in the time when the second Beis Hamikdash was being built. But that was the era of the last prophets, and it appears that from Gemara that once the last prophets passed, then there's no longer any prophecy. But then the Rebbe brings many sources, which we learned about the week before, that it doesn't mean there is no prophecy. It means after that, prophecy is not as common as it used to be, which means in those generations, there could have been thousands of people in each generation that were prophets. And that's why the Gemara says that even though in the book of Nevi'im, we see just a very small number of Nevi'im, but in reality, there were much, much more. Two opinions in Gemara. One opinion is that there were 600,000 Nevi'im, and the other opinion there was twice as much, 1,200,000 Nevi'im. That means there were thousands of Nevi'im each generation, and once the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, and once the Chagi, Zechariah, and Malachi, these were the last Nevi'im. By the way, Malachi, many opinions say that really means Mordechai. It's another name for Mordechai. Once these Nevi'im were passed, then there was no longer as common, but in every generation, there still could be, and there is someone who is a Navi. That's how the Rebbe spoke about it. And then in the rest, then we learned the part where the Rebbe was saying that this also applies to our Rabbeim, the Baal Shem Tov, the Magid, the Alter Rebbe. In their generations, they were Nevi'im, and that's all the stories we know about how they spoke about the future. They told us things about the past. They revealed to us things that are going on in Shemayim, and so on.
That's one question.
Yes.
Is there a reason like other Rebbeim? I feel like a lot of their stories, like the more compared to like when we had a Navi, like I was curious if there's a reason. They seem more hidden, like more mystical and like mysterious. Like sometimes like the Rebbe would tell someone like go here, and people like take a flight there and they don't know what they're doing, and like later on they see all that stuff practice. But I feel like the Navi and Navi are like very clear, like Hashem said. So like there's a certain generation that do we know why?
Well, it's true that other tzaddikim were much more open. They would openly say that I see in Shemayim about you that this and this is going to happen in the future, you know. And the Rabbeim of Chabad were not so open. That's another discussion. We'll leave that for another time, another discussion. One of the things it says in Torah is that it's a mitzvah to listen to the Navi, which means if a Navi comes along and tells someone that Hashem gave me a prophecy and said that you should do this and this, or they speak to the community, the whole community should do this and this, and someone doesn't follow it, they violated a mitzvah. The mitzvah is Elef Tishmon. So let's look at So let's look at page 104. Good morning, on the bottom where it says the last paragraph. Yeah. You see? Yeah. I don't want to start off so far back, but let's just look at the words and then I'll go to the part that we're going to do. Tzili HaTorah, this is a commandment in the Torah. It says, Navi Okim Lohem, Hashem said to Moshe, I will establish a Navi, Mikerev Achayim, from your brothers, meaning it'll be a human being, a regular person, Kamecha, just like you, with a Sati Devari B'fiv. I will put my words in his mouth. The Diber Aleim, he will speak to the Jewish people, is Kol Asher Tzavena, whatever I command him to say, he's going to say it. And then it says, Eilov Tishmon, and you should listen to him. These two words constitute a commandment. Eilov Tishmon. You're not allowed to violate his command. And the Navi says, to do something, we have to listen. This is like what the Rambam writes. First of all, how do we know that he's a Navi? So the Rambam writes, he has to have certain qualities. He has to be God-fearing. He has to have vast knowledge of the. I'm sorry, I don't have any more copies. Very well. I don't have more copies, so we'll have to listen by heart. If he has all those qualities, that a Navi needs, and then he shows things that are wonders and miracles, which means the Bezdin, the Jewish court of rabbis, actually test him. They ask him to prophesize something about the future, and we see if it happens. If it does happen, and it happens in a very precise way, like he predicted it, that means it happens a few times, they test him, but naturally, he has to be someone that we already know that he's a tzaddik, and he's a righteous person, and God-fearing, and a Torah scholar, and then he is accepted as another. The Rebbe said we saw this with all the blessings and all the guidance that one got from the Sida Reinu, referring to the previous Rebbe. And the Rambam writes, we don't believe him because he performed a miracle, because he said something about the future. We believe in him because that's what the Torah said. The Torah says that if someone with these qualities comes along and is able to perform these miracles, is able to predict the future, and it's accurate and precise, then the Torah says, Eila Tishmon. He has to say, clearly, certain things tell us what is going to happen in the future, whatever he chooses, but something about the future. And then we see that it actually happens, then this helps us understand that this is a Navi. As we've seen, like we saw this by my father-in-law. In other words, he was a tzaddik, and he clearly gave people advice about certain things, and you saw clearly that he knew he told them what was going to happen in the future. I just finished reading the first paragraph on the top of the page of 104, but the second column. But now I want to go over to the part where there it speaks about practical, which is on page 105. This is part of Ois Yud Aleph. What I just read is Ois Yud Aleph. On top of page 104, on the right side.
I have the old copy from the
It's a different.
Yeah.
It's also Hebrew though.
Yeah, I just have different page numbers.
Okay, so then how could I guide you to find it? The beginning of this paragraph, it's Hebrew though, yeah? The beginning of the paragraph should be the word yeshna. No, hold on.
I have pictures of them. We don't read them, so we can.
Oh, okay.
This one?
What? Yes, that's it. No, that's Mishpatim. Same to Mishpatim.
זה משפט משפטי. אז זה. no.
Yeshna Hira, so on page 105, the second paragraph from the top, Yeshna Hira Kemiska La'el, there is a Hira. You know, the Rebbe always at the end of a Sikha would conclude, so practically speaking, what should we do?
So hey, well,
Hira means a directive. It's like the word Torah means it's a teaching, it's a directive. Teach directors what to do. Shetzrichim lefarsim l'chol anshi ader, that which needs to be publicized to the entire generation. Shezachinu, we merited. Shakadosh Baruch Hu bochar umina bal bechira, that Hashem chose and appointed a human being. Shemitzad atzmi, he's talking about the previous Rebbe, Uloi be'erech nailam anshi ader, that he is higher than the rest of the people in the generation, that this person should be Sheftayich, he should be your judge, and your Etzayich, which means the Navi of the generation. Sheyere, he should teach us, Perar, give us directives. The Yitin Eitzes, he should give us advice. The Geulah Avedas Kol Bnei Yisrael, advice how Yidden should conduct themselves, and not only Yidden, but the Chol HaNoshim L'Derezeh. All people, as we know that many people, or even those who are not Yidden, come for advice and direction, what to do and how to do. Not only advice regarding Torah and regarding mitzvahs, but advice about all our activities. Advice in health, advice in business, advice in raising children. Like it says in the passage, you should know Hashem in all your ways. Everything you do, in other words, everything we do is ultimately related to Hashem. A person's eating, a person's sleeping, a person's doing business, even if you're going to do things that are just for entertainment, you're going to do things to relax, you're going on a vacation, it all could be directed towards serving Hashem. I'm doing it so I should feel better, I should feel more relaxed. And why do I want to feel more relaxed? So I can serve Hashem. And we need advice in all these things. What's the best way to do it? So the Rebbe is saying that really we should make it known that there's a Navi and that this is someone who can guide us, and to publicize his main nevuah, his main primary prophecy about the future. And what is it? La'alta l'Geulah, the take of miyad hine zeba. The prophecy that Moshiach's coming is imminent. So this is, in a sense, this is the main thrust of the whole Sikha. First, the Rebbe spent a few pages pointing out that there is such a thing as a Navi in every generation. Then the Rebbe goes on to say that the Rabbeim, starting with the Baal Shem Tov and all the miracles that they performed, was because they had the power of prophecy. Then he brings it close to the Frierdiker Rebbe. And then he concludes, and the Frierdiker Rebbe made public the idea that Moshiach is coming, is imminent, which really, in essence, the Rebbe is really, when he talks, when he's speaking about himself in a camouflage way, because the Rebbe claims that he's giving over the words of the previous Rebbe, and that is that Moshiach is coming. But here, even though it's a footnote, but this footnote is the most important part of the whole Sikha to a certain extent, if you can say those words. What's the footnote? That this message that Moshiach is coming imminently is being given over loirak betur chacham, not just because the Rebbe is a chacham, v'shofet, or because he's a judge, ela betur navi, but it's given over as a prophecy. Shezeu bevadois, and prophecy means that it's absolutely certain. And look in the mime of the Alter Rebbe, you'll understand it better. So, yes.
When you were saying that everything this person does, even when they relax, it's still to bring Moshiach. You're saying that's a directive, or you're saying like that's a directive for all Yidden, or that's just something that the Nasi Hadar does?
No, everybody.
So how does that relate to just?
It's not about Mashiach, it's about serving Hashem. In other words, people think serving Hashem is when you go to shul. Serving Hashem is when you're lighting candles or you're doing the mitzvah. Other than that, we're like everybody else on the street. The Rebbe says, no, by us, serving Hashem is all-encompassing. I'm eating to be healthy. And why do I want to be healthy? So I should be able to live and do what I need to do. What is it that I need to do? Fulfill the purpose which I was created. I'm just adding it. Even if a person is doing things for entertainment, they're doing things to be relaxed. and they're going for a walk, they're going swimming, going exercise. Whatever I'm doing is to feel better. And the ultimate purpose of feeling better is that I should be in a better place so I could serve Hashem in a better way. So really everything should be connected to Hashem. And should be connected to Hashem.
Which could be an exaggeration, like for example, going to the gym. If you go every day to the gym, can this still be a purpose of whether serving Hashem or like going every day, it's really kind of love? Or
It doesn't matter. Whatever a person does, because they feel that this is what they need to be healthier, to feel better, to feel more relaxed. Ultimately, the question is, and why do you want to feel more relaxed? Why do you want to feel good? So if you're not connected to Hashem, of course, I'm a human being and I just want to feel good. Stop. But a Yid should always have in mind, no, I want to feel good and I want to feel healthy and I want to feel full of energy so I could fulfill my purpose in creation in a better way. And just the mere thought turns my ordinary exercise activities into something which is related to Hashem. That's the point. So I go and I buy something. I'm looking for something that I like and it looks nice on me and I really feel good with it. Why do you want to feel good? Because I want to be in a better place. And why am I going to be in a better place? So I can serve Hashem better. So everything could be and should be connected to Hashem. That's what it means. And therefore, people come to the Rebbe asking advice about other things. Which house should I buy? Where should I live? It's not about mitzvahs. Why is he giving me advice? Because everything is related to Hashem. Everything that we do and everything that we pursue should be and could be. I mentioned this in the beginning of the Sikha, that this is something extremely unique. It never happened before, it never happened after, which means the Rebbe has been guiding people for so many years on so many levels. The Rebbe gave guidance to people, to countries, to politicians, and now stories are coming out. You can see them on GEM. Incredible stories of people how the Rebbe told them things that are going on. That clearly you see the Rebbe knew the future, but nevertheless, the Rebbe, like you said, the Rebbe never said the word. The reason why I'm telling this is a prophecy. Never said that. On the contrary, he always camouflaged it. That it's this is a better doctor, and this is that. But really it was something, highly spiritual. Like I told you the story with ourselves, with our car accident. Remember I told you the story, the details that the Rebbe, what?
Everyone read the story.
Yeah, the one that you read to your brother. That the Rebbe gave us something, printed something for us before it even happened, about fires, and then we were in this car accident, and then there was a fire, and miraculously everybody was saved, which means the Rebbe saw something going to happen, and he saw obviously there was a fire. That's why he gave out a minor on fires. But nevertheless, he never used the term prophecy, even during the 6-Day War, during the war that was taking place in Iraq, the Persian Gulf War, where everybody was running away from Israel. And people were afraid to go there. And the Rebbe said, no, you should go. There are going to be miracles. But he never said the word that it's a prophecy. He said, it says in the Torah that Israel is the safest place. Don't be afraid to go there. Don't leave the country. But he never said, this is a prophecy. The only place we find this is regarding Moshiach in this Sikha, where he says that this statement, that what I'm saying that Moshiach's coming is imminent, and we're now in that era, Moshiach's coming, is being pronounced as a prophecy. Why is it so important to say it? So there's 2 words here. The 2 words are Shezehu Nevadois. This is with absolute certainty. What does that mean? So I gave out another sheet, which you have, I hope. If not, maybe you can make a copy and look at it in the... But here the Rebbe makes a reference to understand better what he means. Look in this Sefer, the Alter Rebbe's Maimorim. So this sheet is a Maimer of the Alter Rebbe. I want to learn that inside. It's very small. We'll just do it inside. If my phone will cooperate a little bit and stop giving me a hard time. Okay, now. The Gemara says, these are the words, on in Chacham Adif Minavi. Chacham means a wise person. Navi means a prophet. What's greater, to be a wise person or to be a prophet? Wise means you have wisdom. You're smart. Prophecy means much more than that. You have a higher spiritual perception of what's going on in the universe. You see things on a higher spiritual level. But nevertheless, the Gemara says a chacham could even be greater than a prophet. What does that mean? So this is a short mimer from the Alter Rebbe, and he explains like this. We're not talking about just wisdom. Pirush chacham, in this context, it means chacham ha'amiti b'chachmas ha'emes. Someone who has the wisdom of truth. Wisdom of truth means the wisdom of Kabbalah. He knows the mystical secrets of the world. Yochal hasig b'chachma ilah. He is capable of understanding and with his mind to perceive things that are going on in the higher worlds. Achiyasig b'chachma ilah hasidus. And with his wisdom, with his spiritual wisdom, he could see the future, but it's still not prophecy, it's something else. I just want to explain. I know it's a little bit to make a diagram, but it always helps to do something that's visual. Basically, when a tzaddik knows the future, what does it mean he knows the future? So we know in Chassidus that everything that happens here in this world really comes from a higher world. Everything spiritual that's in the spiritual realm evolves, and that from there it evolves to something down here. So let's say a few years ago there was unfortunately a story with COVID, and you explain all sorts of natural reasons how it happened. We still don't know exactly how it happened, but whatever the natural reasons are, it didn't really start here. It started up there. Spiritually, there was a reason why Hashem wanted it. And when we say up there, we know that there's 4 worlds. There's Atzilus, the first world. Then there is Bria, second world. Then there is Yetzirah, the third world. Then there is Asiya, that's our world. So when Hashem wants something to happen, or unfortunately when October 7th happened, and fortunately when good things happen, the baby is born, someone gets engaged, someone's able to buy a new house, or there's a miracle where people's lives are saved, it begins up here, starts over here, which means Hashem manifests of himself a certain spiritual energy and light, and that light and energy evolves from here to here to here. Evolving means it becomes more and more closer to the physical realm. Evolves, 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 and over here it evolves into something physical, whatever that physical thing is, whether it's a tsunami or an earthquake or rain or snow or whatever it is that's happening, or like I said, or the miracle. So basically, a chacham means a person who is such a great, righteous person that he can see what's happening over here, and therefore he knows that if that's happening here, this is being manifested to come down. That means soon we'll see it over here. So this would be like somebody who's standing on top of the Empire State Building, which is about 100 floors. I'm not sure. I think 101, 102 floors. And they're standing with a friend, and they're standing on the top, and they drop something. And then somebody who's standing on the sidewalk outside, who's in touch with this person, will tell the people around him, I'm now going to give you a prophetic statement. In exactly 2 minutes, this and this is going to fall down on the ground. And sure enough, it happens. What's prophetic about it? He knew that this person dropped it. He knew that this thing, because it's not so heavy, it takes 2 minutes for it to come down. So therefore, he knew that in 2 minutes, this is going to happen. And that's a chacham, meaning a person who has spiritual perception sees something and they can tell from what they know up there that this will happen in a week. This will happen in 3 weeks. This will happen in 30 days. This will happen in 300 years. And that's why you find in earlier writings of great righteous people where they write things about the future based on that.
They can first in our world, like something happens in our world, and from that they can see the future because
They see it happening in that world. And they know that it's descending, it's coming down.
They don't start with our world in the first world.
No, that's us. We look at things happening down here and we say, wow, this happened So probably there must be something going on up there. But by them, it's the reverse. They see what's happening up there, and they say, being that's happening up there, obviously it's going to evolve, and eventually it'll come down here. Yeah.
I guess it could come on top like a Navi is able to tell us because I'm asking because like Hashem told them directly or like they're not able to see what happens.
Oh, we didn't start that part yet. We do that now, yeah. But for example, there's a famous Zohar. I think you learned it in written classes. Famous Zohar, which was written 1800 years ago, and he writes there's going to come a time where there's going to be new wisdom in the world that was never known before, and the new wisdom will be both in the Torah world and in the sciences. And not only does it say this is going to happen, he says it's going to happen mainly in the year 5600. He gives a precise time. We look back, what actually happened in that time, which is in English, this would be like in the 1800s, the beginning of the 1800s. In that time, that's when science really began to develop and discover things that we never knew before. And as a result of that, we have all the technology we have today. And in the Torah world, that's when the Hasidus, the esoteric, mystical part of Torah began to be revealed in a way which was never revealed before. But how did he give a precise time? So the answer is Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, saw up there that this is destined to come down to this physical world. And from what he saw and where he saw it, he understood that this will take so many years till it will finally come down here. So what's the difference between that and a Navi? Let's go a little bit further.
Can I ask a question?
Of course. Question if I have the answer. Yeah.
Let's say
Okay.
Moshe with the Moshe with the person on the Empire State Building. The Chacham would be the person on the floor blindfolded, knowing that something was dropped. Like they can't see, but they know something's coming.
Why does it have to be blindfolded? The Chacham would be the person that knows that something was dropped on the 100th floor.
I'm saying, like they have no way of speaking to the person. But
No, I'm using in the physical muscle, maybe the person up there calls him up and says, I'm now dropping this and this object.
they do have a connection with it. See,
The person that is people standing next to them have no connection with up there. So they don't know. How do you know that this is gonna drop?
But how does the Chacham know? The Chacham just decide. The Chacham, the Chacham knows that it's coming, or someone from the third floor.
No, the Chacham is in touch with the person on that floor. Spiritually means a Chacham is a person that could see what's going on up there. Okay, let's look a little bit further. However, the shtalshelus element, as things evolve, something could happen. She's hapech hadavar, that something would happen that the process would be stopped or reversed. Kihu raya, he sees the chokhmah ilah with this spiritual perception. He sees what he sees is true, and he sees it happening in the higher world. And from the higher world, it evolves to the lower world. But it might happen that that the words of this great chacham won't actually happen. Because other things that could be blocking, that it shouldn't reach this physical world. Nevertheless, what they saw was emes. Let's go back to the analogy. What happens if your friend tells you, I'm on top of the Empire State Building, I just dropped this, and it's going to hit the floor in 2 minutes, and you're waiting 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, nothing happened. Was he lying? No, I know he doesn't lie. So what happened? You find out that somebody on the 50th floor stuck out a big basket. It fell in the basket, took it into the window, finished. It never hit the floor. Spiritually, it means there's something good that is meant to happen, a certain bracha, and that bracha is evolving, but then it could be that if we did something which was inappropriate, it could block that bracha, And instead of evolving and reaching planet Earth, it remains in the spiritual realm. It sort of gets frozen. It does not continue in its path of actually happening. And this explains why we do have great tzaddikim who were giants, spiritual giants, and they gave certain dates that they said, this is a time for Moshiach. And yet the time came and the time went and nothing happened. The time came, the time went, and nothing happened. So how do you explain it? So this is what he's saying. That it's because something we must have done blocked that bracha. But look at the next line. But a Navi is different. The word Navi in Hebrew comes from two words. Niv Svasayim. Not two words, one word, Niv. Niv Svasayim means movement of the lips, which means the Navi is someone that Hashem says, I want you to verbalize with your mouth this message to the Jewish people. Pinis Dibur. By Hashem it says, when he speaks, who Amar Vayehi, when he speaks, things get created. Baruch Piv called Tzvam, we just had that in the mind, but with the breath of his mouth, he created all the hosts. So look what he says, L'chein and therefore, Im ba ha'inyan b'shtalshlus, ad she'giya lebchinas dibur b'navi, if this will come to the time and the place where you will hear these words from the mouth of a Navi that will verbalize and say that Mashiach is coming in a certain time or a certain period of time, then it has to happen. Now it's considered done already because a Navi is different. And that's the halach in the Torah. When a Navi says something, Hashem will never take it back. It's going to happen. So that means when people hear the message of the Rebbe, sometimes people say, wait a second, there were times in history, in fact, great people like Shimba Yochai, Rashi, Saadia Gaon, Ramban, even the Rambam himself, Maimonides, they gave also dates and times where they said this is where things are going to happen. Nothing happened, which means because they didn't pronounce it as a prophecy. What they said was with the power of chacham, wisdom, not the power of prophecy. If the time will ever come that it will be pronounced as a prophecy verbally, then the Alter Rebbe says it's irreversible. Then there's no way that it's not going to happen. So a person can say, maybe it was supposed to happen and we didn't merit. Maybe we blew it, we lost the opportunity. No, Zel Buvadai, once it's pronounced by a Navi, then it's absolute certainty. And that's why I'm saying these two words, I think, is one of those things that give us strength because the Rebbe spoke so strong about Mashiach's coming. And those years, Nun Aleph and Nun Beis, 1991, 92, there were actually incredible miracles that were happening in the world, everything in a positive way. And then we saw other things happening, and recently we see more things happening. So it's very easy for the Yetzer Hara to come along and say, you still believe, look, this happened, that happened. Not that the words were not true, but maybe we missed the boat. Maybe we lost the opportunity. Maybe we blew it. It could have happened. It should have happened, but we did something wrong and we messed it up. So by the Rebbe telling us these words that this is being pronounced as a prophecy, once something is pronounced as a prophecy, it's irreversible. So we know for sure that's going to happen. And therefore we know that the good things that are happening are part of the process. We'll learn a little bit later how the Rebbe points out that if you look at things happening in the world, you can actually see where it's happening. And even the things that are not pleasant and not positive to our eyes, it's still all part of that process. Of course, we need to learn a little bit more. But when we look at miracles, like even just what happened a few days ago in Israel, everyone knows there was a big miracle with the buses, right? Now we're hearing that there was much more to that miracle than we know. There's what they call a gag order, that they're not revealing everything. It appears to be there were much more buses involved, and it appears to be there were more things that were going to happen. It was going to be, God forbid, on a huge scale. And how did it stop? Simply because a woman saw something that looked suspicious, and she told someone, and they got involved. The police got them, then the army got involved, and everything happened. I don't know if you know the details. Someone from Hatzalah wrote that after the first explosion, they went to see what's happening. And another bus exploded a little bit further away. So they went to that bus. When time they went to that bus, exactly where they were standing, another bus exploded. And their life was saved because of that explosion. And they saw that the buses were empty. All the buses were empty just a few minutes ago with people. And the miracle was that they set it to explode 9 a.m. during rush hour. And by mistake, they set it for 9 p.m. So it exploded the night before at 9 o'clock. So this is a miracle. And you're seeing miracles where hundreds and thousands of people's lives are saved, besides all the miracles that people are telling others and family members, publicizing it on and over and over. So if you want to look to see where we see things happening, there are miracles that we can point to. Of course, there are very painful things that are happening. But nevertheless, once I know these words, that I think I told you once, there are a lot of people, including myself, have a very hard time reading a book. There's too much anxiety. What's going to happen at the end? So what do? First, I read the end, the last page. And I see, oh, he's alive. Okay, now I can go back. He's jumping, he's being chased, he's in jail. Doesn't matter. I know the end of the story is he's alive. So the Rebbe is telling us the end of the story is Moshiach is coming. And it's happening soon. So even though this is going on, that is going on, you could have confidence and you could be ready and not let it in any way shake your emunah, because ultimately this is what's going to happen. And now we approach things that are taking place with a different perspective. Okay, we have one more page that we need to complete here, which I guess we'll do on Friday. Yeah. Yeah. עברית, כן.
אבל נכון אמרת שיצרה יכול לערב את האמונה, שאולי אנחנו
לא זכינו.
כן, בדיוק. אז למה אנחנו לא אמורים להעביר את זה?
דבר שרבי אמר שזה נבואה. נבואה זה משהו שלא יכול להתבצע. Is that clock right? I see. Okay, we're 2 minutes off. Okay. Well, everybody. You're welcome. Yes. Thank you.
How do we know that the Rebbe said that?
Those are the words you were reading in the Sikha.
Where was that?
Footnote 116.
Oh, fine.
It's in the Sikha itself, and then 116.
Yeah. So the footnote is.
Look at the Sikha where you have the footnote, and you see the words in the Sikha.
I can't read that.
Ad hanabuha ikris.